Salut, semne cusute. Hello, Alina. Thank you for being here to talk about the history of Romanian lace. Because when we think about lace, we have layers of history. We have lace in different forms of evolution still in use. And it's important to have this different perspective on lace, maybe coming from outside the area that is famous for using precious lace, to see it from outside with somebody else's eyes, and maybe we have something to say about that might be interesting and saving this craft or bringing a new approach to this ancient craft, because we have the perspective of Eastern ancient lace as we inherited and as we still use it for our shirts, including mine. I mean, even my shirt is using Asian lace techniques to hold the pieces together and protect the edges. But on the other hand, we also have Western forms of lace that returned to the East after 19th century, starting with the 19th century. And in the end, not only that we were using Eastern ancient techniques, Western techniques, but we also had our own story to put into
our own variations.
Yes, to have our own combination of lace, because women worked a lot, and somehow they decided that we need a form to give us enough freedom to use what we love most, which means needlework, not exactly crochet. I mean, not only crochet, and we like to mix. We like to mix a little bit of everything. And Romania is already known for that, because if you look on a map of European DNA, I think the most mixed DNA of all is in Romania. Romania is like a small Europe brought into one country. Then you have Oriental influence, German influence, French influence, Italian influence, and then Slavic influence. And of course, it's the local foundation for everything. But if we're so good in mixing stuff and playing with a needle, we were not so good in documenting what we did, because it might remain unknown. Fortunately, we have some proof in the fact that the techniques are still in use after a long time.
They survived longer.
Yes, this is a more solid proof than a book. A book will tell me, I have some history in lace. Yeah, but our history is still ongoing. We're still writing the history of lace because we are using it. And
except we don't have the physical proof so far.
In terms of old textiles, yes. Let's also mention that Romanian climate and environment, especially in the south of Romania, is also not just hot, but it's also quite humid and with a lot of forest, as we used to have. And this kind of humidity didn't offer let's say, easy way for textiles to survive, like it happened in Egypt or in Islamic countries, in the Muslim world, in the Arab world, where the weather is dry. But this happened also in Greece. It's humid, it's hot, and ancient lace techniques survive as the proof that lace must have been there for a long time, right? But let's see about this history that we are still writing. And let's see what is our contribution to this craft, and let's see if we can convince more people to try this craft. We are not always aware of the fact that we are wearing lace.
That's right.
Because in the ancient form, the ancient lace techniques, we have it in quite small doses, healthy doses, let's say. It's not over the top. And it is combined, and we find it most probably around the edges, close to the border of the fabric, because it comes with this functional role to reinforce the...
When you use something for functionality and you don't concentrate too much on aesthetics, then it's there, it will always be there, but you will never be aware of...
And you're not even aware that you are wearing it, you know? Because we use the Greek word for it, bibila, or we have regional terms like tsakuri, mofturi, which is whims, could translate to whims. And it can also give an example of how these techniques and how this needlework was done. because you are in a good mood of doing it.
It's
so it's
at
up
the
to
end
you.
of the work or what you're doing is something even more you want to
Yeah,
add.
I'm in a good mood to work a little bit more on my blouse before saying goodbye. I'm not ready yet. And I think it's also interesting how you find a mixture of techniques, as we said before, because you don't find just antique lace. You find all sort of mixed embroidery, feston stitch mixed with
it's pull thread, it's also open work we have there, all sort of variations.
Yeah, but all of them are
open
concentrated
techniques.
Around the edges.
Exactly.
You would hardly find this kind of work in the area of elbows, or well, you find it closer to the edges because ancient lace was born from this necessity to reinforce the hems and connect the hems, connecting two pieces and keeping the shirt on you, right? So it kept the location, the purpose and the location.
Yeah.
So this is the place where women, let's say, displayed their skills, their patience, their creativity around the edges.
Yes, and that's where initially you would find it in the Western Europe. Let's remember.
Really?
It's really around those areas, and only then it evolved in any other ways. But first of all, yes, that's how it arrived through Greece and used in Greek style.
Yes. And later on it came to spread all over the shirts.
Yes.
And
even unnecessary, just to show off. It was actually because it was very expensive.
Yeah.
Not anyone could afford it, and therefore it was a way of showing how wealthy you were.
So if you have something that becomes just ornament, you might forget the use of it. What is the practical use of it? What's the reason? Why are we doing this? And then you say, it's a waste of time. There's no point of doing it. And it's true. It's no point of doing it.
And it looks, to us
elsewhere.
who are using it with purpose, it looks strange. It looks, why would they do that?
Yeah. So let's keep this in mind, that ancient lace techniques appeared as a need, and this kind of lace is resistant. And if there is some beauty or some aesthetics into it, it's coming from the rhythm and the repetition and combining different techniques, as we can see here. Because in Greece also it's many times a combination of techniques, maybe not as big
they
as
are not
here.
so elaborated as they are spectacular in the look they would offer combined with other embroidery techniques.
Yes, and I wonder, just between the two of us, is it difficult to create such work, or is it more difficult than the embroidery?
No.
It's easier? You're making fun of me. I mean, is it easier or not? Give me something.
For me, for example, the only difficult part is to create the pattern and to to plan how you will work it. Once this is done, everything goes faster than classic embroidery, to my opinion.
So you are telling me that if we proceed the same as we did with the embroidery, like providing patterns, once we provide patterns for this, do you think it will solve half of the problem?
Yes.
Patterns and video tutorials might solve big part.
The rest is just the confidence of the people who are working with it.
We also need to prove that it is useful. That it can be, and even we can do like academic tests, you know, like people are crashing cars to see which one is more resistant. We can do this with hems, showing people that the hems that are connected with ancient lace techniques will resist better to forces pulling them out. And if somebody really wants to do, I mean from the bottom of their heart, from conviction, they want to have sustainable fashion and do it yourself, then we can prove, okay, take this as a more resistant option for your piece of clothes, and it will last forever, like 100 years.
And you can easily upcycling or updating it because it's easy to come with something else over it, or to detach it and work something else instead of it.
Yeah, for this, first of all, we have to demolish this myth that it's difficult to do needlework.
Yes. You start with the basic. The first steps, once you learn them, then you can go to elaborate more.
Yeah, but it's complicated. Why not buy something secondhand and just finish with this story and say, okay, I am sustainable now, I bought something secondhand, my conscience is clear.
Yes, but how long would it last? I mean,
I don't know, maybe somebody wants to be smarter and creative, and in order to better understand the value of all things and sustainable practices, maybe they will say, yeah, I can do this. I have no more excuses.
Whatever you can do by yourself or learn to do yourself,
you learn to appreciate better.
You learn to appreciate better, and you will apply, and that's how you become sustainable. You don't depend on others. If there's appropriate lace or the appropriate thing that you want for your shirt, you don't have to compromise. You do it as you like it.
Yeah, but you can, for instance, you can quickly fix the hem of your jeans if it's something wrong with it. Not jeans necessarily, but something. You can quickly make a few keys.
Yes.
And you can repair your stuff. And then you say, yeah, I've done sustainable practices with ancient lace techniques.
Yes.
Let's see. How old is lace fashion in Romania? Because we said we don't have proof. The only proof we have is from paintings and from foreigners who were drawing
the painting
ladies.
From a church of Romania showing one of our ruler's wife, who was very accomplished. Elina Basarab was her name. And it was in the 17th century, and again we have a drawing from the same period of a Wallachian girl who is also depicted in wearing same fashion or same style clothes. So what we notice is a combination of Eastern and Western influences. We have the shirt with the sleeves that are showing a rolling pattern, like in the ones we've seen maybe in Renaissance paintings. And we also seen the cuffs and collar that are also in Western style.
Western, you mean Italian?
It was in all through Western Europe in fashion at that time.
Yeah. So they're in contact, but it was based on Punto Greco, which was...
Probably, I don't know, it's just a drawing there. I can only assume what was there.
We speak English now, and we assume that we address to some people who, for which most countries of Europe are Eastern countries, but for us, Greece is in the south, it's not Eastern.
It started with fabric that were creased, and then to the edge of the fabric was added.
This addition.
Yes, once the lace got to Italy, they immediately attach it to edges, any edges actually.
Yes.
So this is the fashion at that time. We see them depicted this way. We see also the Eastern influence with the kaftan, wearing. So yeah, it's very probable that high society at that time had lace.
I guess they were selecting the most expensive things from, no matter where they came.
Exactly.
And
they combine, as you can
West,
see.
yes.
They combine without any
Because I'm sure she is wearing expensive fur here on the borders of the kaftan, but in the same time,
lace is on
punto in aria, Italian lace around the collar, and a huge, strange hat, right? which is not a crown, is a something. Okay, and the lady here, let's remind for those who don't know that these sleeves were cut in triangular shape. It was all zero waste cutting pattern, as they were like a croissant. They were in a triangular shape and they were twisted, and this is offering resistance because again connecting
and
these two parts.
Yeah, it was perpetuated through peasants' shirts
until
quite
100 years
time,
ago.
yes.
Yeah. And now we brought it back into fashion. Let's see.
Here we have a similar, it's a newer painting, but we see her dress. As you pointed out, the fur is there, so it's probably one of her famous outfits. It's painted wearing the same outfits. And we have a quotation there, which is from a famous historian that stated that she was the one who promoted culture and printing in Wallachia, what was named Wallachia. It's for us the Romanian south. And she also, this quotation is from a letter she sent to Brașov, asking for a woman who would know to embroider.
A master embroiderer.
A master embroiderer.
Master de broderie. Master embroiderer.
Yes.
So not just any embroiderer.
No.
A master.
Yeah,
okay.
So definitely she was wearing and needing to use such crafts.
Yeah.
For her.
Such a pity that not so many people were able to admire her, because at the time, if you threw a party, the aristocracy, at least in the Oriental fashion, the women would have separate parties from men. I mean, everybody would come, but they would party on in a different room. So, but I'm sure the other ladies would have appreciated and exchanged.
Yes.
Okay, and the guy, he's not wearing lace?
No, probably it wasn't necessarily a male's fashion at the time, I don't know, or maybe the ladies were ahead of their time in that period. But more than surely she was a cultivated woman, and she was acknowledged for that and very much appreciated.
Maybe it's important to mention that at that time, what you consider a lady who is educated should have spoken Latin, Italian.
Yes.
Maybe Turkish or Greek.
Definitely several languages,
yes. They were speaking several languages, and sometimes ladies from the court would help with translating and with the ambassadors.
Oh, yes. She was considered the first writer lady writer from Romania.
Yeah. But
later on, yes, we have in the left another princess wearing a traditional outfit, and we see the edges at her shirt having bibillur, more as by their looks I judge it's metal thread. Yeah. And on the right we have a peasant from another part of Romania, painted, wearing her traditional outfit. So it's a festive outfit, of course, but we see there a lot of lace at the edge of her sleeves.
Carol Pop de Satmari, the author of this watercolor, was maybe one of the most famous and one of the first photographers in Romania. And he used to take photos of these models, and he was making watercolors just for the color, just to add color, because all the photos were black and white at the time. So he was making the drawing after following the photography he was taking previously.
He considered it so important to
transmit the color as well.
It was spectacular.
And the princess is this one, and maybe it's not obvious for people
it's again a mix of east and west on her.
And but she's the princess, and we can see because she has lots of gold jewelries worn in a salva, which is this necklace, and this
like
is
a
the way
collar of coins.
is the peasant way of wearing the coin. So even though she was incredibly rich and so on, she dressed up like a very rich peasant here.
Yes.
So she's not wearing Western fashion items, although she had. So we can see again, probably she had silk sleeves.
More than sure.
With this, they are very soft and fluffy, and with this addition of metallic thread bibila, you'd
help
wait
them to stay
down.
shape, yeah.
Because otherwise they will
flow around you.
Yes, so she's adding to the weight this way, keeping the sleeves down. And this lady here, she doesn't have so many jewelries, but the most valuable piece is the sheepskin vest. Yes. Definitely, and we can see that she's also wearing wearing it with a border of fur, exactly like we've seen to the princess lady before. But definitely she worked a lot for this lace. Do you think she was using crochet at this point already?
No.
This is
not
needle
yet.
lace.
No, it's needle lace for sure.
Okay. So she was making what? Punto in aria without knowing she's making...
I think she would have mixed again. As many techniques that arrived in Romania, they were adopted and adapted. So she would probably use a pull thread for the edges, and then on the seams she would attach the
little
lace.
whims, little bibila. Let's call it bibila, is maybe difficult. We call it baby lace. Ancient lace. But
and a little bit later on, again, this is already the 19th century, we see another princess. This one wearing traditional blouse, but we can see there the edge. It has needle lace with red thread. And there is a wife of a very famous doctor, Ana Davila, and we can see here she has the joins lace that help joins the parts of her shirt.
Do you think she did it herself?
I really don't know. What I know is that she was a patroness of an orphanage, and many of the little girls there were taught to work different crafts, needlework among them.
Yes.
So probably one of her students, or maybe even her, I don't know.
Despite the fact that she was a princess, the lady here on the left, she's depicted spinning.
Yes.
Because in general, all the ladies, even if they didn't have to work and make their own clothes, they knew how to do it. And this was something that was told, this is something I learned from my mother, that her great-grandmother said to her, you have to learn how to do these things. You will never have the need to do it yourself, but knowing how to make them will teach you how to value them and how much you should pay for the work. Yes,
because they made their clothes by themselves, and it all started with the thread, with cultivating the fibers and then processing them, and then they did everything until the final shirt at home.
And the ladies were promoting these crafts precisely because it was their way to fight for emancipation and for ladies' rights to be paid properly for their work. And this is why so many princesses and queens are wearing the traditional clothes, because they are trying to promote and explain this is valuable stuff.
And many of them posed just like that, spinning.
Yeah.
And this is the
peasant clothes.
With this is festive shirts. Yeah. There we have metallic thread joining the pieces of a sleeve. The embroidery is also with metallic thread, so it was clearly for show off.
Yes, and she's using this pretext of joining two pieces of fabric together to create a vertical line and to emphasize again on
even
the fact
reversing the tailoring of the sleeve actually.
no, it's a very common practice.
Yes.
Precisely for showing off these margins
Yes,
and
yes.
creating
It was the pretext.
creating an extra work on this, making them visible.
Yeah, that's from the eastern part of Romania, and that one is from the western part of Romania. Again, we have two pieces of the sleeve
Here
joined
and here,
by
joined by lace.
lace.
And how many techniques?
That's what we have. Two techniques there. We have pull thread, what we call ajour, and in the middle we have the knotted keys, the
Joints.
knotted joints. What in the West, in Italian, is called puncetto.
Puncetto, no. If you think about it,
Yes.
nobody called it puncetto in Romania. They call it keys, little keys.
Yes, knotted keys.
Knotted keys.
And then on the edge of the cuffs, we also see, maybe not so clear here in the picture, we also see a little bit of edge with the needle.
Oh, very little.
Yes, very
Childish.
little. Yes, because the embroidery is the star there.
Yes, and
but
no, I think the keys are the star.
They still
Puncetto is the star.
Yes,
here.
puncetto. But they still felt the need to have a needlework there on
the edge of the hand.
However
because
discreet. Yes.
Yes, because it is functional stitch. It's protecting the edges. Exactly like I have here a minimum. Exactly like I have here, it's a minimum of work you can do in order to have the edges of the fabric protected. Because if not, they are exposed and they might.
And that's why it's hard to perceive it as lace.
Lace, because it's protection. And when you think of lace, you think of something fragile, delicate, not of something strong and protective. I need the lace to protect my edges. You don't think of lace like this. You think of lace as decoration.
Yes.
But if we turn back and see the functional, the practical role, maybe we decide we need lace again to continue to use lace. A little bit
more lace.
But here, look, we have different type of laces, different tools, right?
We already have different tools. That shows that even if they use needle, they still use newer type of lace made with crochet. It was in fashion. It was actually a display of fashionable thing there. But again, when you want to join something and to be resistant, you would work it with a needle.
With a needle. So it comes as an addition.
This is for show off, yes.
This is just
to show
aesthetic.
that you have a crochet, you know how to use it, that you can make something really pretty with it.
But when you have to have something reliable, it's going to be needle lace. Okay. Oh,
here is the upper part of the same outfit. Again, for the join, we have the needle work, and there on the edge of the collar, where it's just for fashion, you can do something rapidly with your crochet and attach it, or maybe put something more.
Maybe buy it from the...
Or, could be. She didn't spare anything for her collars, as we can see. She put
everything she had.
Yes.
Why not? Why not?
And this is another men's outfit. I think it's the down part of
the shirt we saw previously.
The shirt we saw, that
like
one.
This one.
So you see there another combination of different techniques. You don't know where the fabric ends or where the lace begins. It's difficult to notice. It's all blend in a very nice, wise way.
So again, how long would have to be this work? I mean, a men's shirt might be for width of fabric, like 2 meters spread. So you have to work 2 meters of this thing.
Usually, about 2 meters.
How fast it would?
It would work fast because it's not hard once you know the pattern and once you know exactly how many threads you need to pull out and how many stitches you have to make to ensure the edge of the fabric. everything goes really fast.
Is it more difficult to work with white thread on white fabric, do you think?
I didn't experience any difficulty.
We also have the version of using ecru,
person,
like natural, not bleached.
I don't know, I've heard persons complaining that it's hard to work, but personally I didn't experience any hardship in working with white on white or natural colors.
Yeah, but you already, when you see something like this, you already might be tricked and imagine it's made by a machine, is it?
No.
No. Pretend that you don't know, because...
No, because you don't see that made by a machine. I mean, even if you are a person who don't know anything about lace, I find it hard to believe that you would mistake this for a machine made. Yes, because they are more thin, they are very, let's say, they have no
volume. It's flat.
Everything is so flat and thin. And
exactly like the embroidery made with a machine. Mechanical embroidery is also flat.
Exactly. So I don't know, even if I would know anything, I wouldn't know anything about lace, I wouldn't mistake this for a machine made.
So if we want to make sure it's visible that we are having handmade, we have to add volume to mix as many techniques as possible, because a machine cannot do that. It's repetitive and it's creating the same using one or two techniques.
Yes, because the machine, it's hard for the machine to go along the thread, so you won't have easily counted threaded patterns made with machines.
But for somebody who doesn't know that they even have to count the threads, the volume would be an indication that it's not...
True.
Because people who don't have any notion about embroidery or so don't even know that you have to count the threads.
Today they use the machine wisely. They are adding up all sort of double things that would bring some volume, but again the embroidery would look flat even if
it's raised on something. Oh, look, here it's easier to see that all this work is done within the fabric, something that no machine can do at this moment. You just remove threads out from the fabric and you surround with a cotton thread whatever is remained in place.
It's the base principle for Greek lace, actually.
Really?
That's how it started.
This one? It looks very simple to me. Yes. And then I understand that you can make an extra pattern on this net that you've created, simply filling this with
interwoven points.
Points. So, why would you do all this effort to pull the threads out of the fabric, surround them with fabric, and then only to make a flower on top of it with... Because these are people who ask, why would I spend so much time doing this? I want to be sustainable, but not waste my whole life creating a...
Well, for me it's not only a proof of craftsmanship, it's also a form of art, in my point of view. So if you are creative and you want to show this, this is the best way of doing it.
First, not to scare people, is not really taking so long. It's not taking a lifetime. It takes a few hours. And the way we do it, these few hours, we do it together with friends. And we also gossip. So it's not just you are doing only this. Manner. You are staying locked in a room.
Stressed out by what?
Stressed by this and making the craft in order to have a blouse. No, we go outside, we have a coffee, we have a... beer, whatever, and we work on these things while we talk, we chat, and we gossip. So we mix things, and at the end of this meeting, we had fun, but we also had a progress in our work. So it's not like you are imprisoned for this time. It's fun.
It's relaxing.
Relaxing, yeah.
And you learn new things and.
Yeah, and you have the opportunity to teach, to show to others, because this is also making making you feel good and useful when you can help somebody else around you to progress a little bit. These are very easy. This I know how to do. I have the feeling that everything here that I see is familiar. Would I be able to start creating such work without seeing any video tutorial? What do you think? Let's pretend I don't know anything.
Hard to say. Hard to say no. Someone would have to show you the basics. Once you learn the first steps and you are confident enough, you can be on your own and you can create your own patterns. But first you need to practice a little bit the first steps.
Okay, I agree. How many techniques would I need to learn in order to do
this? Not so many. For the knotted lace there, it's basically one or two.
And then I need to learn how to pull the threads and to reinforce the remaining.
Structure, yeah.
And then I need
2 or 3 movements, and most of them are already, if you are an embroiderer, you're already making them. And
Let's pretend I'm not an embroiderer, because we address people who never took a needle, so don't...
Yes.
Let's imagine that...
You want to start with lace, right?
I want to start with lace, and I wonder, do I need more than 1 hour to learn everything that's here? No.
No, to understand, no.
No, to practice. I need to practice a little bit to get my hand used with the technique. I think 15 minutes I need.
Yeah.
15 minutes is all I need to see to understand.
To understand what's happening, yes.
Good. Sounds good and promising. What do we have here?
Another joint between the sleeve and the body of the shirt. And
we have a pleated sleeve here?
Yes, exactly. So no complex on working with new challenges. So you don't have to have a straight fabric to work it. You can work
we can work directly on plates, pleated fabric or creases.
All you have to do is just to put the needle through the fabric. That's no complication.
Rhythmically. So we have all I have to do is to make sure the distance of the steps that I'm making is kind of even as much as possible. And this is why I'm counting the threads, right?
Yes.
Like I do for
and
the embroidery.
And the knots also.
Seems easy. Only if I would have a needle now, I would have tried. This again looks very complicated, but...
It's a man's outfit.
Man?
Yeah, this is the trousers of a man in Western Romania.
Trousers of a man?
Yes.
Do you think he was able to appreciate it at the right value?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
They put value on their wives' works. And also the wives try to display all their craftsmanship on their clothes. So yes, it's a mix of techniques there. We have also classical embroidery plus open work plus lace plus a little bibila on the edges
of the edges.
Of course, the edges.
The edges of the edges.
The edges of the exactly, because I wanted to point out the edges already were reinforced with embroidery, but it felt like they could do more.
If I look at it even now, I also can do a little bit more. I mean, if you want, you can do more.
Yes. Even on top of that.
On top of that, I can start coming with some threads here. I could create a structure and fill all these gaps, all these corners here.
Or make the little picot, the little loops.
Yes, for sure. Here you can do. So there is no end. There is no moment. You decide when you stop.
Exactly.
There is no rule. But I wonder, this is the moment to ask you this question. What about gender equality and inclusivity? Because since we are living in our days, and this is a European project, there will be questions asking what we're doing about gender equality and gender inclusivity. And don't do anything like we never did, because everybody is free to try.
Yes.
Was it a certain barrier for men or women to try?
No, in Romanian tradition at least, no, we didn't have any barriers. No, men and women, they did needlework.
If they wanted.
If they wanted, yes.
So it's still as free as it was in the past, so we move on.
Yes.
Simple. If you like it, you do it. Here you can use color.
Here we can use color, we can play again.
Is this the collar of a shirt?
No,
it looks like a collar.
This is the upper part of a skirt.
Really? Yes. So it can be used as a instead of a belt?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's attached to the skirt and also reinforced with needlework. And also, as in the previous case, because the fabric was dense, we have hemp mixed with cotton here, or only hemp. You needed a strong to keep the fabric pleat. You needed to
because the hemp tends to be flexible and return to the initial form. So you have to tame this shrew and keep it with bibila and many stitches along the edges.
The dense, that's why they are so dense, even in the little keys.
And I can see, so far we've seen it created with metallic thread, with cotton thread, most probably with linen thread, most probably with silk thread, and also with wool thread. So there is also no barrier in terms of material. You can use whatever thread. Which one is the best? I mean, for a beginner, what shall they use? Cotton.
Cotton, more than surely, yes, to begin with, because the fiber is has the structure that allows you to count and to notice where you need to put the needle in, and to follow the pattern. And
also I think it's quite uniform in section, because if you're using a linen thread or wool, wool is a bit fluffy. And then you might be disappointed to see that all your little knots are not equal.
If you are not experienced enough, you may...
so you better start
with it a little bit.
With cotton,
it's
cotton
the safest way to start with,
Okay, great. And we can use it in color as well as...
Yes. This is the cuff of a sleeve. We have the crochet, the edge. The focus is actually on the upper part of the cuff that joins with the sleeve, and also was reinforced with this bibiluri. It's they look like the shape of teeth. That's why the French called it dentelle. That's why we are using dentelle in Romania, for example. But they had this
from the word dente.
Yes, dente.
Al dente.
Dent in
Dantura.
French, and dentelle.
Dinți. So we're using corners, coils, like
fangs.
Yeah.
Wolf hang.
Like vampire teeth. It's easier. Coils.
Yeah. And here is the color of the same shirt. Again, the same technique. They play with the colors, and it helped. Let's say, make the edge of the color somehow invisible, or lose it behind those.
And I think also they wanted to hide these threads, keeping the pleats together.
Yes.
Because otherwise they would have reinforced the edge like here, but they wanted to cover up a little bit.
Yes.
So again, practical and
aesthetical at the same time. And this is royal-like, because it belong to the royalty, and we see the metallic thread was used in combination with colors, even though we know that metallic thread is hard to work for such
true, but let's mention that it was used real metallic thread, not polyester, because now if you look in mainstream or medium segment for threads, you would find metallic thread. Under the name of metallic thread, you would find actually polyester and viscose, which behaves totally in a different way.
They are softer.
much softer,
and the look is
they're not twisted. Yeah, and they don't tend to keep the form in the same way.
Okay.
So I don't think the metallic thread can be replaced with polyester, but
yeah, so here we have the sum of all the reasons why you would want to have it. To add strength, to show your status, and
craftsmanship.
Craftsmanship, yeah. And here we are, the 20th century arrived with emancipation in all forms. In some good ways, but also in other ways.
Let's say more and more girls were going to school, and sometimes, although they were learning in the same room with the boys, they didn't have separate schools. Everybody was learning in the Romanian villages. All the children will learn together in the same.
They don't have segregated, classes.
But they would receive awards on a different. It would be awards for the boys and awards for the girls, and they would also have later on for different ages. They would have, especially if they were orphans, they would be taken into internat, like boarding schools. Where they would also learn how to craft everything needed for a house, how to manage a house, like to be the manager of the house, to make sure they can handle the expenses and make savings and decide about efficiency, and
even learn how to sustain themselves through
needlework. Yes. Especially if they were orphans after the wars and so on, they were enrolled in these schools, and somehow I think this was the first moment when the embroidery was taught in an organized way in school, and this is the moment when the patterns started to be perverted and changed and modified.
Came with the up and downs, and the down was that they lost the connection with the old or the traditional part of the needlework.
Yes.
And the crochet was a very big hit. Everyone wanted to use it. Actually, they were seduced by the fact that they would work faster, and they will finish sooner their work. But the durability was not the same, and the strength.
If I look at the lady depicted here in this photo, she is wearing both types of lace. The ancient lace techniques, they are on the blouse, holding the pieces together as we are used to. But she's also working on enriching the edges of a napkin or something, a giveaway. Most probably for her future wedding, when you have to present important guests with gifts. Sometimes you have to give to all the guests a little piece of cloth to remind your wedding, especially if they are close family or so. So probably she had to make 100 handkerchiefs like this to give them away. So you start working on a very early age, and probably should have preferred to do the lace with the crochet because it is faster indeed. But for her clothes, she used the needle lace, ancient lace techniques. Okay. So it is also the moment when many Romanian peasants are finally given a piece of land of their own. They are given property because after the independence war, they were rewarded this way. The same as some Roma that they fought along with Romanians after being liberated. And for the first time they had the property and they could concentrate on having a house and having to dress up the house. Because this privilege was not for everyone, it was only for communities of free peasants that didn't belong to a boyar or something with property. So dressing up your house became also a must That,
yes, because you wanted to have something nice and better than the neighbors.
Especially, it's important maybe to say that this there was this room, special room, like a museum-like room.
The front room.
The front room where nobody would live and would be the most uncomfortable room from the house.
It was a showroom, actually.
Exactly. It's like a little museum where it's, if you come as a guest, they will set you to sleep there, and it's the most awful place where you should sleep because sometimes it's not heated for years or for a long time, and everything is set in a certain position, and as a child you are not allowed to touch or to move anything because that's the show-off room, yes. The showroom. And the fun is all happening in the other rooms with a fire, with a kitchen and with goodies. But for the sake of dressing up this yes. room, there were...
It was the guest room and it should look...
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Museum-like. What about Romanian
once we had the crochet and once we had the time to work around it, we discovered that we can innovate. And the first thing they thought was to make this cord, what they call laceta, and use it again for their homes, for the house, making all sort of doilies and other sort of, I don't know, like tablecloths or whatever. And they combined crochet with needlework.
Why would you need to cover your furniture?
Just to be nice.
To protect it?
When you cover it with that, no, you won't protect it. And I've seen cases when you have a basic white tablecloth beneath the crochet work or the Romanian point lace. But it was nice to have it on top.
Why?
They liked it, maybe, I don't know.
I think they were afraid to have a big surface of wood or something. Just empty. It looks empty. Yeah. It looks minimalistic, and they didn't come
to this. If I think now, yes, my grandma and my mother used to always have something on the center of the table, even if it was...
yeah, it gives you a focus point for your eyes to look on it
and to
find
put
something.
It just on, I don't know what material, without anything in between, looks a bit shabby, let's say. It's like it's not a wealthy man house. Once you have a dentelle or anything beneath,
you become a house. So they needed to use textiles to make a place more comfy, to look more cozy.
Homey, yeah.
Homey. Okay. It didn't happen to my house when everything was quite...
well, my grandma used to have all sort of doilies and laces of different techniques, and even as curtains or on the base of the shelves, or anything that could be adorned with a little bit of lace, she would do it, yeah.
No, I understand it's beautiful. I'm not used with this pretty much at all. But
today, no, I don't think we can appreciate it as they did back then.
I can understand if I have a lot of time and I would stare at the table at some point and I have to listen to somebody explaining something and get bored, probably my eyes would sleep and find refuge into the lace on the table. But otherwise, I hardly imagine why would I keep this lace on a table. And probably this is why once our lifestyle has changed, yes, we also started to give up on these pieces, finding them useless because we don't spend so much time at home. And if we keep pieces, maybe we don't display them nowadays. Mm-hmm. We keep them, we didn't throw them away, but we keep them because they remind us of somebody.
We are emotionally linked with them, yes.
Our generation, but already our daughter's generation, I don't know how much.
I don't think they have any emotional link to it. I'm afraid that my daughter wouldn't understand why I keep a box full of doilies from her great-grandmother.
Of course, it's normal. It's a new generation coming, and either we teach them what to do with it, either we'll throw them away.
The
so
value,
we better throw it away now, or you better donate them to our museum if you are afraid that your daughter are going to throw them away.
For them, they have no value.
No, they might have a value, but they don't understand why. Why is this?
No, I really don't think they have any value. It's something that comes from the past. They don't understand why it was made and how they could use it, or if they would ever.
Yeah. I guess they don't want to cover up the furniture. They want as little furniture as possible. Because every piece of furniture is coming as a burden now because it's covered in dust.
Yes, and the formality of receiving guests, it's not the same.
We go out.
Yes. We don't receive the guests in our house. We don't have the same level of formality when doing that. So, no need for it.
I think I will get such a butterfly. I will make one and I will take it with me in every restaurant and pub where I'm going. I'm going to socialize. I won't invite you home, but I will bring this and have my coffee, my lemonade close to it. Let's see what happens, if I feel any better to dress up whatever places. Do you find these places useful or good in restaurants or tea houses to make the places cozier?
Not by using them.
Displaying them?
Displaying them, yes.
Okay.
That would help any way of displaying them and putting them into good value. Otherwise, you are just, I don't know.
Downgrading them.
Yes, downgrading furthermore.
More than this, I can't.
And this is why we still have this attachment to it, because the Romanian point lace actually, and not only that, all the crafts that our mothers and grandmothers were doing helped us survive the communist years. When we know that we didn't have freedom to move, to speak, or whatever, the only way we could be creative and decide what we want to do and how we want to do it was through crafts. So that's why probably the Romanian point lace was at its pinnacle in that period.
Also because it's cheaper to do, you just need a ball of yarn. Actually, and this was available. I mean, we didn't have meat, we didn't have milk, we didn't have eggs. Like you see here, all these people waiting in line for meat that might come at some point. But at least one ball of cotton yarn anybody could find. It was produced in Romania, and it was something available in every store. So it was not a problem of not having the material. But maybe I'm wondering, maybe that's one reason why we don't know what to do with this lace, because it's a sad lace. It's not happy. It's not precious. It's not. It comes with a certain weight.
For us,
it is heavy.
Yes, that's why we don't see a future. Maybe it's linked with the past. We have our own emotional links with it, but we don't see a future to it. It doesn't seem to have a future.
But if you see all the laces in Europe disappearing, there is a lace in Poland, there is a lace in Slovenia, there is in Ireland, in Belgium, in France, in Italy. Every country seems to have their own lace.
Yes.
How would they survive?
Well, most of them are in museums right now. I think that the most survivable one is the Italian lace, where there are still groups and ladies and schools where they can learn. Otherwise, and even there, they are presenting them as form of art. You don't see any practicality or link with today's lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's a future or not, but I don't think
it's hanging between life and death. I mean, it cannot live, it cannot die.
Most of them are still practice. It's a pretext of pride, let's say. Some of them are even enlisted in the UNESCO, But
yeah, but we started to understand that staying
that
UNESCO doesn't help you.
Exactly. That doesn't mean that they have a future. I mean,
Being enlisted in UNESCO, it means it's a precious thing, but it's at a risk.
It's only, yeah.
So at the same time, so probably it also takes to change the way we see lace and the way we communicate about lace, because this is going to change the way Romanian point lace is perceived.
Yes.
And if we communicate in a different way, if we change the audience, we address to new audiences, maybe not even to your daughter's generation.
It crossed the border that we
maybe
know while we were standing in line for the meat to arrive. The Romanian lace was already a star in across the oceans in United States and in Japan, and not to mention Europe. People were actually seduced by this.
I know
lace.
this
I was
pattern,
amazed
actually.
to see how many people are still making.
I know this pattern. I could see many books in Japan. This is true. I could see in Tokyo in the bookstore there was a line, and on this line, on this shelf, it was dedicated to Romanian pointer lace. I said, wow, I have no idea about this. Yes. But they were displaying so many magazines with patterns, different patterns. So probably it's not difficult to make. Otherwise,
no, it has the same steps as in the antique lace. Actually, you are just creating a foundation with the cord, and then you are actually joining the parts.
Romanian cord is Romanian cord lace. It's very easy to do. I learned it from YouTube.
Yes.
It's very easy. And then you only need to know these needlework techniques,
exactly.
right? Which comes as a feeling, and they are related with embroidery, but not embroidery
in itself,
because they are not on the fabric. They need fabric as a support, but then this support can be removed, and they have their life.
And then at the end, you will leave it in the area, in area, in area.
In area, and just then you can do what? Wear it, frame it. We don't know. Let's see.
I've seen colors. It seems that foreigners are trying to somehow put it to use as old lace. I'm not sure how it feels on you because it's quite heavy. If you would like to make a piece of cloth out of it.
It's rather resistant when you think about it. You can kill somebody or you can beat up somebody with it. It's not a delicate piece of cloth. If you take a...
You can give a healthy snap with it.
At least healthy, yeah. So it's something very solid. It's not...
It's the shape that probably would put some challenge.
And all these little knots.
Yes, and all these things. You don't know if... I mean, on a flat support, yes, it stands, it's fine, it's okay. When you put it vertically on you, you might...
experience that it's changing the shape,
yes.
Right? Because of its weight.
Because of its weight and because it has to go around your body and it will automatically make all sort of wavings and then you...
That's a challenge.
You
I like
lose the pattern, you won't enjoy the pattern anymore.
I like it precisely because it's a challenge and it's a not easy thing to do, and I don't know where to now.
Where to now?
Experiment, yes. That's for sure. We can experiment because thanks to this project, Tracks for Crafts, we have room to experiment and make mistakes. And I'm not afraid to make mistakes, definitely.
No, that's how we learn.
We're going to make a lot of mistakes. You are going to see our mistakes in order to avoid them. And we will accept any ideas and any suggestions, and we're going to start the video tutorial for the practical side very soon. Because I hope that by now, more and more people are intrigued and interested to see how can they make lace useful into their traditional textiles or do-it-yourself sustainable clothes.
Yes, for Romanian point lace, I'm not afraid for its the way of how it's made, because as we've seen, it's quite popular around the world. It's what the future of it is. You cannot stay blocked in doilies forever.
No. Maybe we can make bridges. Let's see.
We'll see.
Thank you very much, Alina. And I can't wait for the practical video tutorials very soon. Promise.
Promise.
Merci.